Hey everyone, we are so excited that you've joined us today for our Maximizing Easter webinar. Today we're all about helping you get ready for the Easter season. It seems like a long ways away, but if you've worked in the church world long enough, you know it is all too soon and it will be here quickly. As we get started today, would love to know in the comments where you're coming from today. Would love to have you put that in the comments. So go ahead and drop those in the comments. Always love to see where we have people coming from. But as we get started today, I just want to let you know we're so excited that you're here with us. Whether you are a church growth member where we're taking care of all of these things for you, you are a just communications package member, you just have our website and you're wanting to glean and learn how to do some of this on your own, or you've never heard of us before and you're just ready to help reach more people in your community, wherever you're at along that journey, we're glad you're here with us today. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so that we can see some of the same things, do a little bit of a deep dive here, and do this together. All right, so let's see. There we go. Cool. I think everybody can see my screen now. But today we are talking all about helping you reach more people in your community with the good news of Jesus Christ. And so specifically around Easter. So let's take a look at what we're going to be covering today. Today we're going to be looking at how do we create a ranking Easter landing page that ranks well and has the best opportunity for Google and other search engines to pick it up and hopefully rank you well, so that whenever somebody's looking for an Easter service in your community, you have the best chances of showing up. The second thing we're going to be taking a look at is reaching seekers through Google Ads, and we're going to be taking a deep dive on that. We're going to also be looking at video recording tips and different scripts and ideas for running social media ads this Easter, what we saw work last year. Also, what are the big changes that have happened this year in Facebook and Instagram ads that you really need to know as we start to set those up. And then we're going to be looking at personal invite cards as well. So a lot to cover, but we're going to try and go through this as quickly as we can, but also as in depth as we can. We don't want to waste your time, but we want to give you as much value and resources that if you're doing this on your own, you could really get going. If we're taking care of this for you, you'll know exactly what our team is doing and what we even need from you as far as some creative or other inputs. So the next thing, before we even get going on any of the technicalities of how we need to do these things, is the why. Why are we setting up these landing pages? Why are we setting up Google ads? Why are we setting up Facebook ads and Instagram ads? And it's because we all have a heart to help others get to know Jesus, to grow in their relationship with Jesus. And so wherever you're at, if you're in Denver, if you're in Salida, if you're in Atlanta, wherever you're coming from today, you have people in your community who aren't reached and who don't have a relationship with God. And so I just want to encourage you, this is the why. Our why is to help you reach others with the good news of Jesus Christ. Just a quick story. I say this all the time because this, for me, Easter is really special and unique for me because my wife's family wasn't Christian growing up. And it was a simple invitation from a friend who said, hey, we want to invite you to come to Easter with us this Easter. And up until that point in my wife's life, her family had never been to church, never went to church at all. And it was just a simple invitation that somebody invited them to come to church with them that Easter that forever changed their entire family's life, all of them. And I'm so grateful for that. She's so grateful for that. And I always think God is an invitational God, and we should be an invitational people. And in today's digital world, there's tons of ways that we can invite people. Of course, word of mouth and just personally inviting is the number one invitational tool I would encourage you to encourage your congregation in. We're going to talk some about that here in a minute on some strategies to help you with that and some resources. But also in today's digital age, people are glued to their phones. People are spending time on Google, searching for things, searching for answers, looking for things on ChatGPT or other AI searches. They're also looking on social media and just browsing. The stats are the average American spends over 2.5 hours a day on social media. And so why not meet people where they're at with the good news in a simple invitation to invite them to Easter this year? Now, the other thing that we all know is that Easter and Christmas Studies showed that people are more apt to say yes to an invitation to church during those 2 seasons of the year more than any other time of the year. And if I were to talk to my mother-in-law, she'd say, absolutely, that was true. For her, it was like, yes, we're being invited to Easter. We better say yes. We better go. And there's people in your community that are just waiting to be invited right now to experience God and for their lives to be forever changed. Now, if you've have that experience and your life has been changed by Christ, then you want to share that with the world. And so why not share that through digital channels? And so we're going to be going through those opportunities for you and your church today. So to start off, we need to talk about the basis, or sort of the first step on the ladder, because we need to get this part done before we begin to take the next steps. So the first thing that we need to be looking at across the board is an Easter landing page. It's really important to get this published as soon as possible, because the sooner you publish it, the greater chances you have of Google indexing it. If you're a part of our church growth package, after we create this page or after we even update it for you this month, we're going to be manually going to Google and saying, hey, there's new content on here, or hey, this is a brand new page, go index it. And what that means is they put it in their database. And so whenever somebody looks for a Easter service in Lubbock or an Easter service in Denver or Atlanta, you have the best chances because Google actually knows about you. And the big thing is you want to get that out early. And there's another reason too that we want to build these pages early as we can, is because you want to be able to share this link with local newspapers, local news stations, local radio stations. All of those create backlinks, which help you be known by Google as the most popular Easter service in town. Whenever there's more people pointing to that page, the more Google sees you as a popular and a trusted resource. And so the more you can do that local outreach and find those connections, or if you have a friend who has a website, tell them to blog about your Easter services and include a link to that Easter page. But the more links you can have back there, the greater that web density looks to Google. And they're like, wow, of course, this is a very great recommendation whenever somebody's looking for an Easter service in your town. So that's the importance of building that page out. Now, there's a lot that goes into optimizing a page. Really think you need to tell Google what this page is about, and you need to give them as much information. If you only have a couple sentences, there's not much to choose from versus maybe the church down the street that has a long, great page all about Easter at their church, what to expect, what to wear, what time, how to get there, how to park. The more information you can give a first-time guest, the better, but also for Google to help know how to rank you well. So that's really big. Now, the next thing is, it's very interesting when we do research on our side for search engine optimization and what are people looking for at Easter time. It really has shocked us in the past, and it hasn't shocked us anymore this year because we've already been shocked in the past on what those top keywords are. So let's take a look. So of course, Easter Sunday, but guess what? Egg hunt near me is one of the top keywords that people are looking for. So if your church hasn't planned out exactly what you're doing or any special things, really consider an egg hunt. It's just a unique event. It's not unique, I guess it's Easter, but it's an event that we've seen other churches do in our church growth package. And when they do that and advertise that on Google and Facebook and Instagram, and they see a big turnout. And maybe you're like shaking your head like, oh no, Zach, that's so much work. But what I've seen from our churches who do that and follow up well with that, they see a huge return on that investment as far as running ads on it, things like that, because they see people come back. And I just want to brag on one of our other churches that's in our church growth package that has done this really well in the past. And a few things that maybe could help you really do an Easter egg hunt from just doing a big event where you don't see anybody come back on Sunday from maybe this Thursday or Saturday event is one of the things you can do is have everyone sign in on an iPad or computers, or have a QR code and have them sign on a form on your website. But if you can capture their information in some way of like, hey, will you sign this liability release, or hey, you get this free thing once you sign in, have like a gate somehow of like making people sign in. Another thing people have done is say, hey, we've got this photo booth. We're going to email you all the photos in the Google Drive once this event is over. And it's a simple way to capture information, but then you can set up an automation. If you're in our church growth package and you have an event like this, connect with us, tell us about it so we can help you set up these forms and these automations that automatically, right after the event is over, we send a follow-up. Hey, thanks for coming to this event. This is who we are. This is when our Easter service is this Sunday. Send them another email or a text that Saturday night. Hey, it was so great to see you. Tomorrow is our Easter services. Would love to have you join us. And then follow up maybe a week later or a month later. We would love to help you set that up if you're in our church growth package. It works amazing. So if you've never tried that before, do it. All right. Now, feel free to, in the comments, if you have questions, stop me and put it in the comments. I'll try and keep an eye on them so that we can help answer any questions as we go along. Now, the next thing, too, that I want to point out here is Good Friday, Palm Sunday. Some of these different traditional denominations that have these services. I grew up in a church that had a Good Friday service every year. And in that, just to let you know, those are very, very highly ranked keywords right up there with egg hunt near me. So I just want to encourage you. These are great things to have their own landing page. If this is like absolutely every year we do a Good Friday service, we might just create its own page so that it really ranks well on its own. So you have an Easter landing page all about Easter, Easter Sunday, and then you have a Good Friday page that would rank better for Good Friday services in Lubbock, Good Friday services in Denver, whatever that would be. We want to separate those if that is a recurring every year we do this. If it's not, and it's just like, hey, we're just doing it for this year, then let's put it on your Easter page. Either way, your main Easter page, we're going to put that on there. Now, if you're in our package with our website, we can also set it up as an announcement that'll automatically pull off whenever Good Friday is done. So Lawrence, where do we put in the keywords on our TNAP site? Great question. So a few places that we want to optimize, if you're optimizing on your own, think your H1 title tag. So if you have an existing page, you want to look at the very top header, and Google is going to give you the most importance from top to bottom. And it's also going to give you importance in the amount of times, or it's called keyword density. So the more times it says Easter Sunday service in Lubbock, Texas, or Easter Sunday service in Germantown, whatever your town is, be sure and put that in there to really help Google know. The other thing, be sure and put somewhere 2026. So Google knows this is updated information, not last year's information. So a few things. Let's say we're optimizing the page for Easter service in Lubbock, Texas. Put Easter service in Lubbock, Texas in that big font that's at the top. Now, as you're editing our package, you can select that font and say, I want to make it a heading 1, because heading 1 tells Google this is what the page is about. You don't want to have multiple heading 1s on the page, just one. Then there's also, you want to have that same word, Easter service in Lubbock, Texas, as many times as you can throughout the page. So in another spot, maybe lower, where you have an H2, heading 2, or heading 3, put it in a couple of headings, but also put it in some paragraph text. Now, I'll tell you right away, a really simple way to help you do this is go to AI, ask ChatGPT, say, here's all the details of my service, here's what people can expect, here's our service times. I want you to optimize for these keywords, Easter service in Lubbock, Texas. Give me 3 paragraphs that I can put on my website. Be very specific, and it'll help you create really great content, because sometimes it's hard to be like, how do I talk about Easter service in Lubbock, like for a full page? And so sometimes we just need a little help in thinking through, how can I sort of fluff this up? But the more keywords, or the more times you can put that keyword on the page, the best. Now, you can't just say Easter in Lubbock, Easter service in Lubbock over and over and over. You'll get marked as spam. There's a ratio there, but that's why paragraphs are good. Even over bullet points. Bullet points could be nice, especially for FAQs of like what time are our services, where to park, things like that. But the more you can put on there as far as just general text, the better. So AI could really help you get some ideas as far as how you could add as much information to that as possible. So good question. Now, the other thing I'd say is on our package, instead of enabling Visual Builder, you can click on Edit Page. And then on Edit Page, if you scroll to the bottom, you're actually going to see an SEO toolbox that we have that'll say, what is the primary keyword you want this page to rank for? You type it in, Easter service in Lubbock. You type that in, hit enter, and then it's going to give you a checklist right below that of things to do. Now, I'll tell you right away, you're not going to get 100 out of 100 all the time on this, but you're shooting for around 70% goal, because a few of the things it's going to want you to do is add like an adjective or a top 5. So like the top 5 best church services in Lubbock, Texas for Easter. Like you're not going to really say that in your title tags. It says, hey, we want you to edit the title tag, but you're not going to get 100. So just know that. But around 70 is going to be pretty good. You're going to be hitting most things on there. The others are sort of more written for blog posts. So Lawrence, I'm going to keep going because there's so much goodness here. And I think a lot of y'all on this webinar today are a part of our package, and some of y'all aren't a part of our growth package. So I want to make sure you get details on that. So one other quick detail is when you're on that bottom part that has all the SEO information and the checklist there, there's also this thing that says edit snippet. Click that. And what you want to do is optimize the title tag, which is what shows up in the top bar whenever you have your website open. And then you're also going to optimize the meta description. And that's where you have about a sentence and 2 sentences somewhere in there to write a short description about what that page is about. And again, include that keyword. It's best even if you start off with it, like join us at our Easter services in Lubbock, Texas at Church on the Rock, or whatever your church name is, put that on there. Put your service times in there, because that's also what's more than likely going to show whenever somebody searches. It's that quick excerpt that shows. And Google loves it if the main keywords you're looking for are in the title, meta description, your heading 1 tag, a few places throughout your site, an H2, an H3, an H4, some body paragraph text. Now, another thing too, this is super pro tip, is you want to optimize your images. So before you upload an image, call it Easter service in Lubbock, Texas.jpg. Upload it, and then as you upload it in our software, what you can do is you can edit the settings of the image. You'll go over to the far tab, advanced, and then click on attributes, and you can give it an attribute for the title and the alt tag. And in there, you're going to want to include your keywords, because what that does is it optimizes that image for your keywords again. So you can say 2026 Easter service in Lubbock, Texas. Put that in there on that image, and that will really help that page as well. So there's a quick overview, hopefully in depth as well for you. Those are the main SEO points that you want to get going right away. For a lot of y'all in the webinar today, you're like, Zach, I've already had this page going because I was on this webinar last year. That's awesome. Just go in and tweak and refine. Now in that, as you tweak and refine, do those things now so that Google can begin to pick up, this has been refreshed, this has been updated. And that way they know this is all of 2026 information and not 2025. We've also played around and tested, and it can help sometimes if you even put 2026 in your title at the top, because that's one of the first things Google's looking at. So if they see that, they know this has been updated. It's not outdated content. So one other thing I want to hit while we're on this keywords page is people are looking for, what is the meaning of Easter? To me, like as a believer, I'm just like, that is so cool that is one of the top ranking or the top searched keywords around Easters. People are like, what is Easter about? What does it mean? And so on your page, answer that question. And you might get some people that are searching for that in your community, and they find your page and come to your service, have a life-changing experience because you just simply included a paragraph about what the meaning of Easter is. Also, people are searching for Easter prayers, Easter scriptures. So in all that, I just want to encourage you. People are looking for the meaning, some scriptures around that. So if you can put in some of those keywords, it'll really help your page. But more than even that, it's going to help people that are coming to your page maybe take their next steps in discipleship and their relationship with God. So I'm going to head to the next slide, but feel free to raise your hand in the chat there. Give me any questions you got. We'll keep it going. So, all right, other big things on your Easter landing page. Absolutely be sure and describe when is it. Be very clear on that. Also, be very clear on what people can expect to do with their kids. This is a hurdle that if you don't answer, you might get people looking at your Easter page, but they might not plan a visit or they might not come to your Easter service because they're not clear what is available for their kids. Have a whole section, like design a whole area that talks about what your kids can expect. Because if somebody has never been to your church, you have to think your landing page is being viewed by people who have never been to your church before. And you can't just assume they know, oh, we have childcare, or, oh, we have small groups, or, oh, your kids sit with you in the first 30 minutes of service and then they go to a kids thing. And at the kids thing, there's music and dancing and a scripture and a story and there's snacks and it's gluten-free or nut-free. Like, you need to answer all those questions, because if you don't, and a visitor is left unclear about what to expect for their kids, that might be the hurdle that makes them choose to not go to your church service, because they can clearly find that information on somebody else's site. So I just wanted to tell you that is a huge area. And we can even see on heat maps where we see where do people spend a lot of time reading on a landing page, on like a I'm new here page, anything like that. They spend a lot of time reading about what they can expect as far as what to do with their kids, because they also don't want to stick out like a sore thumb and bring their kids into service whenever they were really supposed to drop them off in the kids wing or something like that. You need to be very clear. So also be clear on the type of service you have, and think about that in the imagery. People, before they make a decision to come to your Easter service, they want to know, man, our family really loves a traditional worship service. Can they tell that from your wording on your page? Can they tell that from the images on your page? You need to quickly communicate that, because sometimes you really just have 5 seconds to communicate that. And so that's why I really say images are huge. If you have two options, be sure and really clearly say, we have a contemporary worship service at this time. We have a traditional worship service at this time. If you just have one or the other, be sure to have those pictures, have that wording there, so that people, one, know, yeah, this is what we're looking for. And also, two, they could get a little glimpse of what is it like to come to Easter at your church. Is everybody dressed up in a suit and tie, or are there people there in shorts and their football jersey? So think about that. Other big things, plan a visit. If you're with us on our church growth package, we're going to push you harder into this year, because we've seen such good results on this, of having a forum for people to plan a visit there. And this also really connects well with your Facebook and Instagram ads, because we can do a lead form ad where they're filling out their information. It's auto-filled from Facebook, and right away they can plan a visit from Facebook. So in that, plan a visit's big. Add an FAQ area. If you're with us on our church growth, we have tracking. If you're with us just on our church website package, you have Google Analytics on there to help you see how people are interacting with the page. Also, set up any special events. We talked about that. In our 10 apps package, you can create a category just for Easter. And then as you add your new events, so you're going to go to church announcements, go to categories, and you can add a category called Easter and just tag your 3 or 4 Easter events. And then in those events, you can set an expiration date or an ending date of, hey, this is Good Friday and it ends at this time on Friday. Put that information in. And then on your Easter page, you can add a blog section that will show all of your Easter things. And you just select what category do you want to pull this from, and you can pull it from all of your Easter section. It'll show your Easter events there. And then as soon as Good Friday is over, it's going to automatically go away. So there's that route to go. And I'd really encourage you, if you have any special events, Easter egg hunts, Good Friday, Monday, Thursday, any of those things, put those on there as events and church announcements, and then they can auto expire and come off of the page as you go. Cool. Any questions so far? We'll keep going. All right. Please, please, please don't have multiple Easter pages. It's better for you to have one page that you keep refreshing every year. It's also good for you right now, if you have multiple Easter pages or old Easter pages, to go in and set up a redirect in our backend. And if you need some help with that, reach out to us and we can help you set up a redirect so that everything will point to your new page. And so in that, if you have an old page, keep it. If it says like Easter-2025, we want to take that 2025 out so it can just be Easter, or Easter in Lubbock, or Easter in Germantown. Now, you don't want to put dates in the URL, and that's on the edit page screen, not the visual builder screen there. So keep that in mind as you're editing. If you have an old one, let's set up a redirect that you need to change the URL. Now's a great time to do that. Otherwise, just take your /Easter page from last year, or /Easter in town name, and just edit it and update the date and time, things like that. All right, cool. We're going to move over to Google Ads. Now, we're going to go through this a little bit quick, because Google Ads you get $10,000 of free advertising from Google and Google ad spend. If you have applied and gotten accepted and you have that $10,000, great. This is now a time for you to go in and set up those ads. If you're on our church growth package, we are setting these ads up for you. What we're going to be doing is setting up ads for whenever people are searching for things like Easter services, Easter egg hunt, Good Friday. They're looking for these things that you have services for. We want to show your ad in those sponsored section areas that can be really impactful in helping people find you as a church service, in Easter church service, Easter egg hunt, Good Friday, all those keywords. But the big thing is we got to work on those landing pages first. And that's why it takes us a little bit of time here is we got to work with everyone. And if you're doing this on your own, start with the landing page, and then we'll move to Google Ads next. Set up the Google Ads to point to this landing page. And that's really all there is for Google. But the big thing is I would encourage you, if you're doing this on your own, set up a Performance Max campaign. You also need a lot of conversions going back to that Performance Max. A Performance Max thrives whenever you can tell it, hey, this person was looking for an Easter service. They came to our page. They spent a minute on our page. Yay, they were reading and very engaged, but then they planned to visit on our page. That's a win. Let's send that information back to Google as a conversion. That helps them know who to show ads to, how to optimize your ads for the best amount of people actually planning a visit. So that's a little bit about Google Ads. Again, Church Growth members, we're working on all that, doing all of that for you. If you're setting those up on your own, one, make sure you have the Google Ad Grant. That takes some time to get approved. Two, if you have it, be sure to set up a Performance Max campaign as we head into this year. It's a newer setting that is allowed within the last year for nonprofits to have access to Performance Max campaigns, which just do better all around. All right, Facebook and Instagram. As we talked about, people are addicted to social media, specifically Facebook and Instagram. In that, we're going to be helping our church growth members create ads on Facebook and Instagram. And here is the schedule that we need from y'all to think about. In order to really hit that April 5th, Easter Sunday, be thinking right now, today, we will need to be planning and filming some video, taking some pictures, getting creatives ready, but you need to have all of that done by March 10th. From our side, we really need all of that as soon as possible. If you're in our church growth package, you can start uploading all of that to your Google Drive right away as soon as you record it. If you're not, think I need to start recording this so that I can get on the ball and get this going. March 10th is our deadline because it does then take us some time, that March 11th through the 21st, of creating your ads, getting your approvals, and setting those plan a visit campaigns up. So we're going to be setting those up the 11th through the 21st. And then the 23rd is when we're going to be launching ads live. If you get it to us before that and you want to spend some money before that, we can. Especially if you have an Easter egg hunt that's before, or Good Friday service or something that's a little bit before that we need to maybe advertise a little bit sooner than that, we can. But really those 2 weeks leading up are where you want to have everything running smoothly and going. So be sure to connect with us and we'll get those up. Jack, good question here. How much should a small to mid-sized church expect to spend on Google Ads to increase Easter attendance? Great question. I would say it really depends on a few things. One of the biggest things that depends is not really the size of your church, but the size of your community. If you're in a really small town, I grew up in a town of 300, so that's really small to me. I would say just go to the 50 houses in town and just knock on their doors. Honestly, go do that. You could run some Google Ads. In that small of a town, I would say put $80 on it for 2 weeks, and you're going to reach everyone in a town of 300. Now, if you're in a bigger demographic, let's say I was also in Durango, Colorado for a while. That's 60 to 80,000 people. In that range, probably around 200 plus. If you're in the middle of Dallas or even Lubbock, being 500,000, if you're really above 100,000, really the more you spend, the better. You can reach more people, but we typically see a good budget range being between $300 to $700 in those 2 weeks, really depending on how big your church is, how big of budget size you have, but also how big of a town you are. Because you think in the middle of Dallas-Fort Worth, I mean, Facebook could spend all of your money. If you give them $1,000 a day, they'll spend it. As far as what we see on return on investment and people seeing the same ad multiple times, there's a lot that goes into that, but we typically recommend around that $300 to $700 range. But also, depending on your church size, town size, 200 could really go well. And like I said, if you're in Wiley, Colorado, 300 people, I think $80 would suit you just fine and you'd reach everyone. So good question. If you're in our church growth package, we'll work with you to figure that out. And there's some different ratios and things that we could look at, but also we're going to look back at last year's analytics or this past Christmas analytics and see how did that respond on the budget that we've done in the past in your specific area. Because it also depends too if you're in the South and Bible Belt, Texas, or maybe up north where maybe there's not as many churches advertising on Facebook, Instagram. So that also has a lot to do with it too. There's a lot of factors that go into adjusting that ad spend. And even with our church growth members, we're going to keep an eye on that throughout those 2 weeks to say, oh, wow, there's great opportunity here. We're seeing great return on these ads. Let's increase spend a little bit. Or we might say, hey, these are actually doing just fine. Or, hey, they're not even really performing that well here. Let's make some other adjustments. We can go up and down on those budget as we go. One thing, though, is we don't want to do too big of changes once an ad is set. If you do that, you reset it into learning phase. And so you really want to make small incremental adjustments if you're doing that on your own as far as budget goes. So good question, Jack. Any other questions on Google Ads or Facebook ads so far? All right, we have just a couple last things to hit here, and then we'll get you out the door. So 2 last things. Oh, here we go. All right. Oh, I'm sorry y'all couldn't hear that. I just heard in the comments that y'all couldn't hear that, but we'll provide a link to this on our website. That really, if I were to interpret it for you, is a few things. One, introduce yourself. That was the pastor of a church, and that was we just put this in here so you could see a little example of just how easy it is just to grab a phone. You want to put it portrait, not landscape. And just invite people to your church. And we always see a great return on investment too of a family inviting people. And so think about that. And even in the background, put the background of your church or of the kids ministry. Some of the best videos we've seen is just like the youth pastor, like walking like through the youth ministry area into the church worship service area so that a family that has no connection with your church at all can see what is it like inside the church, and they can get a glimpse of that just in the background. 2 other things, it doesn't have to be super professional. People go to social media not to buy products or to be sold something. They want to go to social media to connect with people or their friends. And so if you put together a video that's super well polished, things like that, a lot of people we see end up just scrolling past it and we don't see as long of a watch time. We see the more just personal it is, we just say sloppy, just be real, be normal, be authentic, and people will stop and watch those longer. The other thing is just selfies, just holding that camera out. You can just walk around. It doesn't have to be, again, anything super professional. The more you record, the better, especially for our church growth members. Send us 10, 12 videos. That's awesome. The more videos we can get from you, the more we can have. Maybe there's something that we had a couple of outtakes that we need to sort of cut and edit, but also it gives us more creative to put onto Facebook and Instagram. That's one of the big changes this year compared to last year's Easter ads is that Meta just loves variation, and they're going to test all these different variations of how you invite people. Or we have the pastor inviting someone, we have the staff member inviting someone, we have a family inviting someone. But the biggest thing is just try different things, and we'll edit them up a little bit, put them on your ads, and we'll let Meta test them out, and they'll find which ones are going to get the best clicks, which ones are going to get the most people to plan to visit, things like that. So keep them 30 to 90 seconds. Really, 90 seconds is going to be too long. Keep them on that short side, 30 to 60 seconds. We have a free resource that we're going to send out after this. And tomorrow we'll send out once we process this webinar, we'll send you a link to all of the recording of this webinar, but also to this free resource page. Let me grab that. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. But this page has a couple of those videos, the one that we just watched. I'm sorry you couldn't hear the audio on that. But it has a couple of videos there that you can go see some examples of another church and how they've done that and how we've worked with them in the past to do that. Also on this page, you'll find just some simple scripts that you can use to share with others. And so this is our free Easter resources page. So it gives you a script that you could basically just copy and paste and have a family record, your pastor record, staff member record. Use those. Another thing that we have is a template for you in Canva that you can use. You can go in there and just quickly adjust a couple of things, and you could have business cards that you could print out to hand out to your congregation to invite them to go be an invitational people and invite people to come with them to church. So I just want to encourage you. I'll put this link as well. Let me go grab that. So this link we'll put in the chat here for you. And this is a Canva template that you can use, but this is huge. I share this story all the time too. We used to do these all the time in college ministry. We had so many kids that would come because they just found a card on the ground or somebody gave it to them. We had a kid that got some paper and created a holder by a stoplight where a lot of college kids would come and press like the walk signal button. And there were people that would get cards from that and they'd end up coming to college ministry because of a business card that somebody left in a little folder right there. Like these people will use it in creative ways. Ask your congregation, put 5 cards underneath everybody's seat and say, pray about these 5 cards and go invite 5 people to Easter. It was one of the most powerful ways, I think, to really just give people a simple and easy way to be invitational without it being weird or awkward. Just say, hey, you have 5 cards. God's going to maybe call you in different ways to use these 5 cards to reach out to somebody, but go invite 5 people. And that can make a huge impact for your Easter attendance and people's lives really being changed this Easter. So I want to give you that free resource. Again, the Canva template that we made is for you. In that template, there's also like some slide graphics for announcement slides or things like that. So if you need that sort of image there in a slide or anything like that, you can use that. So that's what we have for today. So I'd love to hear any takeaways you guys have or any wrap-up questions that you have. Feel free to drop those in the comments right now. Regarding the service cost, if I have $300 ads budget, do you charge a percentage-based commission on that ad spend, or is there a fixed management fee? There's a fixed management fee from our side. So part of our church growth package is each month we're helping churches focus on different things. And that's what this webinar is for. And that's a good segue. Let me show this next slide here. This slide, if you're looking on your screen, you can see each month what we take a look at. So January, we're looking at your Google My Business, helping you optimize that. February, March, we're working on your Easter ads. April, your Google ads. May, local SEO. And like this month, prepping for Easter, we're hitting your Google ads, your Facebook ads, SEO with your landing page. It overlaps into some of those each month, but we always have a focus each month. So we don't charge a percentage of your ad spend. It really doesn't matter how much you want to spend on Facebook or Instagram on ads around these seasons. For us, it's really about each month we're doing a certain amount of work to help you. So if you'd like to learn more about what that pricing looks like for your church, reach out to us. You can go to 10apps.com and we can chat some more. There's a little chat button in the bottom corner that you can contact us. There's also a book a demo or run an audit, and we'll audit your existing website for you. But wherever you're at in that journey, we'd love to meet you where you're at and help you be able to reach more people in your community. So regardless of your ad spend, we'd really love to meet with you and see how we could work with you to help you guys reach more people. So again, if you're not a part of our church growth package, we'd love for you to reach out to us on our website there at 10apps.com. If you are a part of our church growth package today and you're hanging out with us, you now know all the things that we're going to be doing for you. So don't feel like, oh, hey, I got to go in and get Performance Max. No, we're doing those things for you. We're going to be setting up your Google ads. We're going to be helping you with your landing page, helping you with your Facebook ads and SEO and all of the tracking, all those things. So in that, now you have a little bit of a game plan. You know, for you, March 10th is going to be a big deadline to get creative to us, because it really helps us get your ads created, things like that. But we're going to be working before that March 10th on your landing page with you. In our church growth package members tomorrow afternoon, you'll be getting sort of your homework email from us and a reminder of these dates, as well as some links to where you can upload these things. And we just need some of that input information from you, as far as we don't know what time your Good Friday service is, or we don't know what time some of these things are, to really help you. And we'll work together to help get those pages created. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@tentapps.com. We'd love to help you no matter where you're at on your journey, because we want to help you and your local church reach more people for Christ. And however we can come alongside you and partner with you in that, we're excited to do that. So that's all that we have time for today. Thank you for joining our webinar. We'll again be sending out a recap email tomorrow around some of these things. If you're part of our church growth package, be sure and look for that homework email. But other than that, hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll catch you on the next one.